Hello, this is Greg Patuk, and this is Awakening with the Xin Xin Ming. I wanted to spend at least one more video on the lines that we've been going over and focusing on recently, which are when the deep meaning of things is not understood, the mind's essential peace is disturbed to no avail. And I shared just a random reading I did the a few days ago, and I wanted to read an excerpt from my book that I actually wrote about this. Um, So I hope you don't mind me reading again from something that I've written. But I wrote, the deep meaning is an awareness of the higher self and that our lower 3D selves are not actually in charge. We are bound by fear, jealousy, greed, lack, want, which causes us to lose focus of our true self, our higher self. The deep meaning is the quality of the now and being in this moment where is all is how it should be. Our human nature expresses itself through the emotions of the moment, but those do not need to be the fuel of which we go on. When we see there is more than the tangible, when we witness the various points of view of an instance, then we separate from the emotional moment and witness it, allow it, work with it, then pass it on to the next new moment. We do not have to cling to it. We do not have to focus, refocus, self punish, relive. Just allow the flow to move you forward with love, grace, and compassion. As we move forward, the past slowly dissipates, and the now is what springs forth for ever budding opportunities. Each moment is a moment to live again, be saved, to start fresh. God does not want you to wallow in your self pity and suffering of a perceived mistake you made, of an emotional force controlling your mind. The one is open for you to be free from your mind bondage, for that is what is keeping you in the prison. Your thoughts of the what ifs, if onlys, I wish. But that is not what took place. That is not how the moment went. So look forward and take the opportunity to see the path illuminate before you and realize just because you did does not mean you still have to. Just because that is how things were does not mean that is how things need to be moving forward. To break free from the cycle, we are often trapped to be open to the now, to the present moment. Stop and take it in. Really look at your surroundings and what you have in front of you and be aware. And that is what I feel, breaking free uh, and just being at peace. Because whenever you slow down and see the moment for what it is and actually be in your moment and be in your now, then you can truly see what is going on before you. When you allow yourself just to slow down and not get caught in other people's drama, not emotionally react, like, for instance, let's say you're in a meeting and somebody shares a piece of information that they deem as negative and they put a negative tone on it, then what happens? Everybody kind of plays into that role of, oh my goodness, this is horrible. I can't believe this is happening. But what if you just stood back and kind of thought about what was actually said, not with that negative tone, but just with a neutral tone, and think of perhaps the possibilities that it could lend itself, to happen. I've done that before where we've been in meetings and, someone comes forth with a positive tone about something or a negative tone about something. And everybody just seems to fall in line and go with that tone that was originally, it was stated with. And not that I'm saying that if it's something positive, you need to be negative about it. Or maybe if they do think negatively about what is taking forth, it could be perhaps something that is not so great, news that perhaps could be deemed as bad. But just to play with that emotion because somebody else springs forth with it, you're allowing them to dictate how you feel about something when you are truly in charge of your emotions. You truly are in charge of your thoughts. That moment is your moment. That is your now. And it doesn't have to be their now and their moment. Something that they can see as being positive or negative, you can just listen and take in and make your own decisions about it and see it from multiple points of view. And that's really what's beautiful with this line, because when it says when the deep meaning of things is not understood, you can actually now understand what the deep meaning is. And it's just that sense of peace when something is brought forth to you. And you can see every opportunity as an opportunity to take in and to slow down with and to say to yourself, okay, this is happening. And in the past, I've, seen this as something perhaps good, something perhaps not so great. But how is it really? And how is it really going to affect me? And is it really the end of the world? Or is it really making my day the worst day ever? Or is that just how society has perceived certain stimuli that we come across, throughout the day? So we just play along with that same mindset, that same game, and we don't really take into account what's actually, truly taking place. And whenever you can be that calming state or that sense of reasonableness, perhaps, or looking at it from other points of view and not just the one that is given, that helps to open everybody else up as well, because then they actually can see and maybe get themselves out of that emotional state that they were in, and they can say, oh yeah, yeah, this isn't so bad actually. I see what you're saying. And it really helps to alleviate the potential for, a meeting or perhaps a conversation to start going into a very negative, into a very grinding type tone, where you can just listen to somebody with compassion, and you don't have to buy in to their emotional state. You can still stay in your very calm, neutral state, and you can say, I do see how that feels bad for you. Or, you can say, I understand and I'm here for you. And I can see that you're not having the best time with something. And I'm all in. I'm here for you. I love you. I care for you. And just being there for somebody whenever they are in this moment of not seeing the true meaning of something, when their mind is in distress, is all really anybody ever, needs. They don't need you to buy into the emotional side of it. You just need to be there. And when you can do that and you can offer other ways of looking at something, if they're ready for that, then you might be able to help them see that something that they thought was the end of the world or something truly horrible, we can get through it. And it's really not that bad. And then that brings a sense of peace, and that brings them back into the now, and that brings them back into the moment right now with you. And this moment, when they're with you, then becomes a wonderful moment, because you are offering them that spaciousness and that sense of peace and that deep meaning of the situation, and not just making their mind perhaps go more um, insane or more depressed or sad or upset or angered, because of what just happened. You can be there for them, but at the same time, you can offer them that sense of peace and that sense of understanding that things will be okay, even though it doesn't seem like it. And let's see how we can work forward to work this out. And what is this teaching us? Because everything that takes place in our lives can be the greatest teacher of all, because we can see where the situation before us hangs us up and, triggers us or gets us in a certain emotional state. And with that, we can work on it and really look deeply inside of us and see what it is inside of us that this situation is bringing about. And whenever we can do that and not just blame the external world for our problems, but we can see a situation happen, we can take it in And then, okay, what is that person, or what is that situation, or what is this event doing to me, and why am I feeling this way, and how can I handle this in a better way, or with a more positive light. Because when we can do that, then everything in our now moment can get us to that deeper understanding, because we're constantly working for it, and we're constantly seeing, okay, this happened. Now, what does that mean? And what does that mean in me? And we can just take it in, and we can breathe with it, and we can be okay. And we can look forward to taking the steps to correct, or to, fix the situation that we're in, that we perhaps need to. How does that feel for you to think about how a situation, or what a person says, or what a person brings to the table, a teacher for you? It's a different way of perhaps looking at it, because we usually think about the them versus the us, and it's them to blame, or it's them to worry about, or they need to fix that, or we get caught in with the emotion of the moment, instead of just sitting back and being true to ourselves, and trusting in ourselves, that we don't have to buy in to that situation, that we can, take a step back and just look at it. And if we do get sucked into the emotional side of it, then we can look at why that was something that we, you know, or something that made us have that emotional reaction towards. And what does that mean for us? And what is that we need to work on to make ourselves, more in a clear mind, and more just in a sense of peace. I am very much looking forward to the next few weeks with the lines that are coming up. They were very interesting to write about, and to reflect upon, and to meditate upon. And I hope that these lines that we're working with right now, whether it be if you're journaling with it, or just thinking about it, it's helped you to see how you are in certain situations, in the way that you react in certain situations, and what the deep meaning means for you, and what level that you are on when it comes to the deep meaning, because we are all on this journey together, yet we can all be on very different areas of the path, but we are here for each other. And I thank you for being with us with Awakening with the Xin Xin Ming. And can you, or please remember, that every moment is truly a blessing.